Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Star Wars Rebels episode review. This one's going to be for Season 1, Episode 12, Call to Action. And yeah, this was a good episode. I actually really enjoyed this one. While maybe it wasn't the best individual episode, it was the first episode really of the season where I felt that they were really addressing where the show is going in terms of setting up something going forward with Kanan being captured by the end, and then setting up and really making it clear that the aim of this series is that this small group of rebels that we're focusing on Lothal is going to be this kind of center point for the overall Rebel Alliance formation. So I like that those two things were addressed in the episode. It was action packed. I thought it was one of the more intense episodes because definitely towards the end, with the all the references to like sacrifice, is it worth it just to get this message across? Uh, People sacrificing themselves, like Ezra's father and mother, and Kanan talking about it, and then he basically sacrificing himself so the others could get away, and them having to basically let him be captured because the Empire was there in such numbers. It was really intense because I was kind of almost at points thinking like the way they're going with this is like they're gonna kill a character, but it's very early on in the series still, so they won't. They're probably not gonna go that road. So like the idea that they've kind of split up the group a little bit here. That Kanan is the one who's captured now. Probably the most capable fighter of the group is captured there. I suppose field commander kind of leader character is out of the picture. It's going to mean that like the likes of Ezra is going to have to step up. It also, for the time being, I suppose, temporarily takes the Jedi student relationship out of the picture for a few episodes, which may give the likes of Hera and Sabine more time to develop in the next like maybe one or two episodes, while this is still being resolved. But super intense. I love the action scenes towards the end, seeing the Inquisitor, seeing Grand Moff Tarkin make his appearance was important in the episode. I felt like when he arrived, he had the whole kind of Emperor's music basically arriving on Lothal, and just he was so commanding. And like you've had these characters like Callus and the Inquisitor and so on, and that Governor lady, who have been like pretty good characters, but his arrival is important, and I think this series is really using those well-known characters well, and so you really get a good sense of Tarkin because obviously we met him in the Clone Wars. I think around season 3. Then he came back and was kind of important at the trial of Ahsoka in the final season of the Clone Wars that aired on TV. He wasn't in season 6, I don't think. But you really see that, okay, he's in a big position now in the Empire, he's important, he seems to really dislike the Jedi, but what he really added was that he was a higher up in the Empire who showed us as the audience what the Empire are afraid of with rebels. He confirmed that there are other rebel cells out there. Maybe none of them have the kind of principle of our kind of main group of heroes, and that he says most of their missions are conducted with non-violent means, and that they're trying to have a better principle rather than just everything through violence, kind of like they were made out to be. That Gall Travis, continuing on continuity from the last episode, he came on the HoloNet and was like, okay, I realized that it's best to rejoin the Empire, and these rebels, and they showed a picture of our heroes, and he put up, there's a bounty out for these people because they're distorting my views and they're violent. When it was confirmed later on that they didn't use violent methods. Little bit kind of confusing that they had not very violent methods, and then they just attack these communication towers, and stormtroopers are getting killed left, right, and center. But I suppose they needed to do it towards the end. But yeah, the big thing with Tarkin, though, getting back to that, it was that scene where he was in the room with basically everyone. Like the governor was there, the Inquisitor was there. They bring in the two guys who are effectively our kind of stooge commanders on Lothal. They get kind of killed in that scene, which was really intense. Just the fact that okay, these guys have been there. All of them have basically failed to capture these rebels, but these two guys are going to get punished for it. And the Inquisitor, I assume, beheads the two of them. The way that the scene was organized, uh, the series has done that before, where like it's kind of shown beheadings. Like I think Ahsoka in like season 3 or 4 of the Clone Wars did this move where she like beheaded 4 Mandalorians in like one move, and you kind of like, oh whoa, she just did that. This they covered it up a lot more in that all you saw was the Inquisitor moving behind them. You see him kind of putting his lightsaber kind of around neck height, but it was behind Grand Moff Tarkin. And then they kind of pan up, you hear the lightsaber activate, and they cut to Callus and the governor's reaction, and they're shocked because they've just been killed, and I assume beheaded or something like that. It was really intense, but the key part of that scene was when he mentioned, the big thing that we need to stop with them is, with the rebels, is unity. And to me, that's what this series is about. It's about this group eventually uniting all these little rebel factions across the galaxy to form the Rebel Alliance. It's literally in the name of that group from the original trilogy, Rebel Alliance. It's an alliance of various rebels. And that's what we're really seeing here, that this capture of the communications tower and the message that Ezra sends out at the end is going to be important in that they said they showed it getting to the people on Lothal, and they mentioned earlier on in the episode that it got to some of the other systems. So this may inspire some of the more nearby systems to rebel a little bit more, and you start to see a more organized rebellion that our heroes are basically the leaders of a growing rebel faction. And I really like that idea that you gradually are seeing, I suppose, Ezra take on the ideals of his parents, I suppose, and really do what they couldn't do, I suppose, when they were alive. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here. There's a lot of potential with the series going forward after this episode, because straight away you have plot which you kind of haven't really had since the kind of Ezra two-parter, and that was primarily just because they ended the episode on a kind of cliffhanger leading directly into the episode. This is the first time just an episode has ended with something that completely and directly sets up where our heroes are what they'll have to do next, and that is somehow get Kanan out and stuff like that. And then towards the finale, like I assume the finale may be a point where they maybe introduce Obi-Wan maybe at some point. Maybe they introduce Darth Vader, perhaps, but I'm not really sure. Like, I think it's confirmed that Obi-Wan Kenobi has a toy in the Star Wars Rebels toy line, because I think that was where we first heard that he was going to be in the show. So, I doubt that one hologram appearance from like the first, the Spark of Rebellion thing is going to just warrant his appearance in toy form. So, I would assume at some point he appears in person in the series, because that might explain the whole "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope" thing. Yes, Bail Organa knows Obi-Wan Kenobi as one of the only surviving Jedi and stuff like that, but it kind of, and especially with how Force-focused the whole Rebel Alliance actually is, which again, Grand Moff Tarkin's line touched upon that. He constantly going on about how ancient the Jedi Order is, how he was there when they were around, but now they're a thing of the past, and how the one thing that the Empire don't want is for the rebels to, one, be a union, and one, be a union united around a Jedi and the kind of Force, I suppose, is what they don't want. But, with Obi-Wan Kenobi's introduction to the series would be interesting, just because that would be another Jedi that you have, but at the same time, his role is primarily looking after Luke. Where would there be time for him to get away from Tatooine and help with the formation of a Rebel Alliance? Unless the series goes to Tatooine at some point, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. Because that would be really interesting to maybe see young Luke, introduced as a character, and maybe he inadvertently gets involved in like a rebel thing even though he wasn't aware of it, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's in the background helping him or something like that. But that's basically the episode. We got a brief lightsaber fight. Kanan is getting better. The Inquisitor says that, you've been practicing. So Kanan is improving as he's training Ezra. I like that. And you get the sense that once Kanan, I suppose, is rescued or something like that, and there's more training, gradually these will be a big rivalry. They'll be on more and more equal footing in terms of being able to fight each other. And then at some point, maybe we'll see a big moment where there is a final battle and one of them defeats the other, kills the other, or something like that. Maybe they're setting it up where, like a 2-on-1 situation, where once Ezra's trained enough, he and Kanan together, as Master and Apprentice, take down the Inquisitor, and that maybe sets up Darth Vader's introduction as like a full-on character or something like that. Leia's introduction as a character or something like that, because that's a character I can definitely see them introducing maybe towards the end of the show. Leia as a maybe not a main character, but kind of a just recurring character, because she obviously has an important role within the Rebel Alliance, and it would make sense that you introduce her sooner rather than later to explain why she has such a high up role in the Rebel Alliance. But yeah, solid episode, really good. Like where the series is going, had good action, set up for stuff going forward, and most of all, I think most importantly of all, gave you an idea about what the entire series is about, and I think that's very important. So Tarkin's introduction here, really well done. I like how they're doing the original trilogy characters coming back. So that's been the review. Thanks for watching. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the episode. But other than that, bye.